Hello, Cubers. Welcome to Speedcubing 101. It is Saturday, August 17th at 12:55 p.m. Our lunch break is not done yet, so I have stolen away for a few minutes a couple of very special people. If you go to cubing competitions in BC, you know who this dynamic duo is, this dynamic duo of delegates. You hear them on the mic calling up round 2, group 1, asking for more judges and more runners. You may have even heard them making a call on a +2 or not, but you likely have not heard from them in this way. I have here with me our BC delegates, Kevin Matthews and Vianne Chang. All right, so let's start with an easy one. What got you into cubing?
I was at high school, and one day I saw one of my friends had brought a cube in to school, and he was solving it, probably in about a minute or two. And I just thought, well, if he can do it, then I can do it. And so I pretty much stole his cube for a few days, and then eventually got my own. And just never looked back from there.
Can I ask how did you learn to solve it?
So I didn't realize at the time, but my friend had actually just looked up how to solve it on YouTube, or followed a tutorial basically. But I assumed he'd figured it out himself. So I actually sat down and tried to figure it out myself. And I did actually get it after 5 days. But my method was pretty slow and inefficient. Basically, if I didn't know what to do, I just messed up the previous step and did it again and hoped I got an easier case was the gist of it. But yeah, eventually I did go back and look at tutorials to get, better and stuff like that.
Oh, is DIY kind of a theme in your life, Kevin?
Yeah, I definitely prefer to do things my own way. It's more interesting.
Thank you. Vianne, what got you into cubing?
I was also in high school. There were 2 guys on my school bus that would solve cubes on the bus. They were also like a minute or so. And for some reason, one of them thought that I could do it. And then so I felt bad about not being able to do it. And so I decided I had to learn. But I didn't have a cube, so I used one of the virtual cubes at first, and it didn't work. So it wasn't until a few months later that I got a cube and looked at how to solve it on YouTube and then learned how to.
What do you mean by a virtual cube? Like on a screen?
Yeah, it's like you just go to a website and then you use I just used my mouse to turn the layers. It was not good. Would not recommend.
I haven't heard of that. Okay. All right. So when did you actually get a cube then? What do you call it? A physical real life cube.
It was a few months later, that summer I went to Taiwan and then I saw a cube in a store and I got it.
No more virtual. Okay, so that's how you learned to solve a cube. You DIY'd it. You did it on a computer screen. You're a bunch of weirdos. Okay, so what introduced you to the competing world, the competitive world?
So there was another person in my high school a year ahead of me, Forte Shinko, and he'd actually been to a few competitions before. So when he saw me solving the cube, he said, "Oh, you should go to a competition." And so, I first picked it up in January 2010, and the next Vancouver competition was in July 2010. So I ended up going to that one. It was at Science World, actually.
That might be the one that Thomas sent the video. Was the news?
Yeah, it was that
They
one.
were there for the 2x2? Yeah. Oh, wow. That was a long time ago.
Yep.
Okay, so you found out through a friend. What about you, Vianne?
I think I had watched YouTube videos of people going to competitions and I thought it was cool. So I found one and went to it. And my first competition was Whistler Open 2017.
Do you remember who you were watching on YouTube?
It was probably DG Cubes and his group of pals.
Is there a DG Cube posse?
Derpy and Ava Cotto, that
Okay.
sort of teenage cuber person from the Northeast.
Names I don't recognize. There must be a reason. So you're both delegates. Every competition in British Columbia that I've been to, you're there. You're there at the venue before everything starts, so you're connecting with the venue staff and you're setting up. and then packing up and wrapping up after everyone's gone. Plus, there's the emails, pre and post comp, the organizing of groups, handling rental payments to the venue, submitting and confirming times, as well as there's actually a report. I learned that this summer. There's a report that needs to be submitted to the WCA after every competition. You are volunteering your time. I think our brains easily can go to delegates get paid. If there's no wage, there's no salary, you're giving up time on your weekend. It's a lot of commitment from you. Why did you want to become a delegate?
Well, Kevin asked me if I wanted to be a delegate. And I said yes, because I like when people ask me to do things and I say yes. But I mean, like, someone has to do it for competitions to happen. And it's cool to be involved.
Were you helping before that and organizing?
Yeah, I had organized one competition before, and that had like 20 people. And then I tried to organize another one, but then COVID happened. And then COVID ended, kind of, I guess. And then we had competitions again.
So why was there 20 people?
Oh, it was just a side events competition, so it was really small.
Okay, so you've really been delegating a lot since COVID, since everything's opened up again.
Yeah, so I became a delegate in, I think, 2022.
And now here comes the man, the myth, the machine.
Yeah, I'm not sure I ever really wanted to become a delegate, but I'm considered old in cubing. I don't think I'm old. People keep trying to tell me I'm old, but I'm not. But part of the, quote, older crowd, just naturally when I was going to my competitions before being a delegate, the people I would hang out with the most were the people my age, and they were the delegates. So at some point, basically because I was hanging out with them, I ended up helping a bunch. And then when they were looking for more delegates, I was just kind of the natural choice to ask. And so it was basically, since I was already helping out a lot, just kind of made sense to take the next step. And this was actually when I was living in California, because I was doing a master's at UCLA. And California, SoCal in particular, did need more delegates. So that was why I was asked. Although I ended up moving back to Vancouver not too long after that, ironically. But that also worked out quite well for Vancouver, because at the time we only had Chris as the delegate for Western Canada, basically, and he lives in Alberta. So there's also Anthony Brooks. He was around and doing some delegating, but I don't think he was like 100% full-time in Vancouver.
So I know both of you are keeping track of time because we're going to be starting up again for the afternoon. I know we're not quite there, but that is actually part of what a delegate does, is to keep track of time. I'm amazed at how every competition I've gone to, being on schedule or ahead of schedule is sort of like the pride and joy of the delegates. What does a delegate do? Tell us. And actually, I think most of us know at a comp what a delegate does. Maybe say a little bit more behind the scenes at a comp, but also what does a delegate do when a delegate's not at a comp?
Yeah, so kind of the short answer is that the delegate's there to make sure that the regulations are followed and that everything that's required of a WCA competition is followed. Because, technically anyone can organize a competition anywhere. It's just if they want those results to be part of the official database and, be on the website, they just have to follow the WCA rules. However, in practice, WCA delegates often end up taking on a lot of organizer roles. Like, we do a lot of stuff that isn't strictly speaking delegate work, but that's just because it's kind of easier and we have all the experience. Yeah, you want to provide more details?
I guess, we work with organizers. People who want to organize will talk to us, and then we'll sort of help them through the organization process, let them know what needs to be done, and make sure it gets done appropriately.
Thank you. So I know we got to go soon because we're here at the BC Championships. How are things going here? This is the first one. How are things going here?
I think overall things are going pretty smoothly and pretty well. Schedule-wise, we definitely just kind of pull on information and data that we have from all previous competitions. So even though this is the first championship, we can still guess how many groups we're going to have and then look back at previous competitions and predict, how long each group will take and so on. So from that point of view, the schedule's been pretty good and we've been on track. We're even ahead a bunch on Friday. From that point of view, it's good. We also had quite a few first timers here, which is great. But that can often delay a competition because there's extra incidents and stuff. But we definitely had some incidents, but nothing out of the ordinary, nothing too problematic. So yeah, it's been going great so far. We've seen lots of kids celebrating, getting PRs and stuff. So it's always great to see.
I think it's been going good. We're on schedule. There's enough chairs, it seems. That's all that matters in the end.
So on behalf of everybody attending here, we really do appreciate you and the time and the effort and the commitment, the dedication that you put in to make sure we have a fun and proper regulated event. But in turn, so many competitors are experiencing so much joy just in competing. They love being with other cubers, making friends, making memories. Today, I was judging a newcomer who is more looking at me to say 8 seconds and then 12 seconds because he just wanted to have the experience of I'm in a competition and I'm with a judge who has to say these things because those are the rules. And I totally get and love that there are many competitors, cubers, who are all about the fastest solve. And you've created a space for that. At the same time, you've also created a space where kids who've watched these YouTube videos and these cubing stars do their thing, and they get to try and be like that too in a competition. Thank you. And Tanya has given me that look and tapped her watch. So again, I'm here with the main BC delegates for the WCA. It is the dynamic duo of Kevin Matthews and Vianne Chang, who are about to call up the first round of Pyraminx here at the BC Championships. Thank you for listening to Speedcubing 101. Happy cubing and go cubers go. If you are competing in the competition today and tomorrow, I wish you many PRs.
How do we get the mic back?
Plug it from
Just
somewhere.
wait. I need to do the room tone thing.